Now on CoastTV News.
Homeward holiday rush. Why travel today is expected to bring some angst on the roads. Plus, a cold weather care. How people in Sussex County are dealing with freezing temperatures and can find some protection from the elements.
And it's a cloudy, cold start to our Friday. Expecting sunshine by the afternoon, but the cold temperatures are going to continue through the weekend, but a little January thaw may be on the horizon.
This is CoastTV News Midday.
Good morning and thank you for joining us. Today is Friday, January 2nd, 2026. I'm Grace Eckerly and welcome to CoastTV News Midday. We're looking out at a live look at Rehoboth Beach this morning. Some people walking their dogs on the boardwalk, and congrats, you have made it to the first weekend of 2026, but it might be a bit of a chilly one, at least it is right now. Turning to our first low meteorologist, Chris Mastrobono, joining us for a first look at the first weekend of 2026 forecast. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Grace. I'll tell you what, the good news is we don't have the strong winds like we had in previous days this week. Notice the American flag there, rather relaxed, not straight parallel like we had earlier in the week. We're 31 right now in Ocean View. We had a few flurries out there this morning. We're at 29 in Milton, 29 Georgetown, 30 in Salisbury. You could see the rippling clouds across the peninsula at this hour. And we have a warm front just to our south, but expecting these clouds to kind of break apart through the afternoon. And we're going to get those temperatures up in the upper 30s through the area, lower 40s southern portion of the peninsula. Then as we go into the evening, we're looking at mainly clear skies. Another cold night will fall to 27, and that sets the stage for a cold weekend ahead. We're going to be dealing with temperatures generally in the 30s. We're going to track a system over the weekend that will stay primarily to our south, but tracking warmer temperatures into next week. We'll talk more about that a little later on in the newscast.
Thank you, Chris. Our top story is providing some shelter for people who are having difficulty with these colder temperatures. Delaware's Department of Health and Social Services operating warming centers across the state. The department says locations opened this morning at 9 a.m. and will run until 4. In Sussex County, people can head to the Shipley State Center in Seaford, Thurman Adams State Service Center in Georgetown, and the Laurel State Service Center. Now is the holiday season coming to an end, so does holiday travel, and we can expect many people to be on the road returning home from their holiday destinations. This holiday season, AAA reports record holiday travel from Delaware with about 356,000 people, mostly traveling by car, and that number is nearly 2.5 million projected drivers in Maryland. We spoke with someone who traveled about 6 hours up to Ithaca, New York from the Delaware coast for the holidays, and they say this time of year there's an added layer of stress when traveling.
So it's not easy to travel in general, but then at Christmas time it's even more crowded and more difficult. And then there's snow involved, especially when you're going up to Ithaca, so you have to factor that in as well.
A long drive for those New Yorkers, and this comes as AAA says the national average for a gallon of gas decreased during the holiday season. New this morning, Milford now accepting candidate filings for the 2026 municipal election set for April 25th. Voters will elect a mayor for the 3-year term, as well as 4 city council members, 1 from each ward, and those are 2-year terms. Candidates must file nominations, petitions, and meet residency, age, and background check requirements. Candidate packets are available at the Milford City Hall, and the voter registration deadline is March 26th. New overnight, the Georgetown Fire Company battling a car fire on the Circle. You can see that on your screen now, these images from the fire company. Fire was impacting the rear side of that car. The agency says the fire took place just shortly after 1:30 a.m. on New Year's Day. And we are now taking a live look into Washington, D.C. on this Friday morning as concerns are growing over President Trump's health and recent medical tests. New overnight, President Trump has consistently insisted that his health has never been better. And in an interview with the Wall Street Journal, the president is explaining an MRI he had in October was actually a CT scan. And as for those photos circulating online of makeup covering bruising on his hands, the president is blaming that on high doses of aspirin taken daily to thin his blood for causing it. Trump, who is 79 years old, will become the oldest president ever in history at the end of his term. Now stay with us on Coast TV News Midday, because coming up after the break, new possible police dogs, why the Laurel police chief says at least 2 new additions to the team are needed.
Despite the gloomy start to our Friday, the clouds will thin out through the afternoon. It'll be a cloudy start to the weekend and then a sunnier end on Sunday. Congratulations to Joseph Mazinski of Seaford, Delaware on winning an umbrella from Coast TV. We'll have the cold weekend details coming up.
One Sussex County Police Department wants to put more paws on its patrol. This is Laurel's veteran canine, Grim. The town's police chief says Grim is nearing the end of his service and the department is in need of new generations of dogs ready to work. The plan is to add 2 new canine partners to help when times matter most. According to the police department, the possible new additions would greatly improve operations.
By expanding to 2 canines, we can provide roughly twice the amount of coverage and cover all the shifts, which significantly improves our ability to go ahead and respond to violent incidents, runaway children, tracking fleeing suspects, locating weapons and drugs.
The department says it has raised about $27,000 of the roughly $80,000 to buy, train, and care for those dogs. Lucky across Delmarva, a fundraising opportunity in honor of Delaware State Trooper Corporal Snook. Tomorrow, the Blue Line Network will host a Back the Blue drive-through event for the Snook family. That's happening from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at William B. Nee Elementary School in Newark. Volunteers will place memorial stickers on cars, and all donations will go directly to Corporal Snook's young family. Corporal Snook was shot while working overtime at a Williamson DMV on December 23rd. He's leaving behind a wife and a 1-year-old daughter. And Delaware State Police have revised the timeline for the celebration of life of fallen Trooper Snook. His funeral is at the University of Delaware's Bob Carpenter Center. State Police now say a public visitation will run from 9 a.m. until 12 p.m. And according to State Police, law enforcement pass and review will begin around 12:45 p.m., followed by a memorial service at 1. His burial is private. And coming up next, we're looking at the Chris Cam. Chris Mastroboto of the Coast TV First Alert Weather Center. He's got your full weekend forecast after this.
Everyone's had a wonderful start to 2026. We're off to a cloudy start today, but that's going to be changing as we go into the afternoon. You can see the overcast skies here in Rehoboth. Cold, raw morning out there. We had a few flurries earlier. We're at 31 right now. Note the dew point, 15. Very dry atmosphere across the area. We're at 29 in Georgetown, 28 Harrington, 29 in Laurel. Good news is the winds have been calm throughout the morning, so we're not seeing wind chills in the teens. Those wind chills are just right around where the air temperatures are, but you can see the overcast skies across much of Delmarva. Starting to break up a bit here on the other side of the bay, but we should see the clouds thin out through the afternoon. Area of low pressure across Missouri and Arkansas. This system is going to eventually track to our south as we go into the weekend. We could have a little light shower activity, rain and snow tomorrow night, overnight into early Sunday morning, but I think most of that energy is going to stay to our south, and we're going to continue the dry theme at least over the next 5 days. Highs today, 37 in Lewis, 37 Denton, 39 in Cambridge, 42 Pocomoke City to 39 in Salisbury. So there's the clouds thinning out through the afternoon and into the evening. Another cold night ahead. We're going to dip into the lower to mid 20s ahead of more clouds Saturday. Clouds will be on the increase throughout the day as that area of low pressure spins off to our south. So high pressure is going to be right over us through the weekend, and then we're looking at much more sunshine by the second half of the weekend. So Sunday, definitely the better of the 2 days. If I had to pick one, 36 on your Saturday, and then that system will stay off to our south. Again, we could get grazed by a little rain and snow there, especially the southern portion of the peninsula. As we go to Monday, we stay dry. We're going to be dry even into Tuesday and Wednesday as well, but it's going to be a warming trend. We're going to turn much milder into the middle part of next week, and that's going to be ahead of our next storm system that doesn't arrive until late Thursday through Friday. I think we're going to be primarily dry throughout that time span. And then we're looking at rain moving in as we go into Thursday and Friday. But check that out. No more blue on the map as we go into the 7th through the 11th of January, above normal temperatures. So we get into a little bit of a thaw there as we go into the first full week of January. 38 for your high today. Partly cloudy skies. Again, the clouds thinning out through the afternoon and into the evening. Cold night, we dipped to 22, and then more clouds are going to be on the increase, so a rather gloomy start to the weekend. Again, watching for that threat of a late shower, late rain or snow shower, primarily overnight in through Sunday. Again, most of that energy is going to be suppressed to our south. The air is very dry across the peninsula. 39 by Sunday under mostly sunny skies. Then we gradually start to rise. 50 into Tuesday, 56 by next Wednesday. Grace.
6, my goodness, Chris. Well, coming up today on the Delmarva Sports Network at 8:30, a recap of some of the action from this year's Governor's Challenge. Roman Catholic taking on Wasatch Academy, and then catch that final score at 10:30. And it's week 18 of the NFL season. Here's what's coming up Sunday night football right here on Coast TV. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. with the Baltimore Ravens take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's going to be a heated game in this newsroom. Stay tuned for Coast TV News. It's right after the game. New this morning, 30 acres of land called the 4th Street Preserve. Many consider it a rare gem in the heart of Lewis. In September, the city officially acquired that land, and as Coast TV's news reporter Emma Aiken is showing us, there's a lot in store for the forest's future.
A field of green in the middle of hundreds of houses. But the 4th Street Preserve was once at risk of development.
That's all part of this being the first urban community forest in Delaware, is that we can study and come up with ideas of the best techniques to use for other areas for preservation. So hopefully there will be other communities within the state that mimic what we're doing here in Lewis.
That's Jim Ford, and he's one of the people at the head of this project. For starters, Ford says we'll have trails to walk on here in the forest. Ford says on this 23-acre parcel of land, wheelchair-accessible walking trails will be built coming off of 4th Street. And on the 7-acre parcel of land, those walking trails, well, he hopes those are complete by next fall.
And that's the idea all along, is the minimal amount of impact that we can have here, the better.
Ford says a few pedestrian bridges will be built over ditches. And it's not just walking trails, it's also about education through nature.
We're going to do about 3 15-foot diameter circles of compressed plants in these areas, and there'll be the habitat islands.
Jacqueline Ferris, who lives right near the preserve, was out doing this.
I had some extra pine cones. I figured the squirrels could eat them, so I brought them and put them back under the pine trees and hopefully have something to eat. It's an really, really special place. It's one of the only places left that's wild anymore. Everything else has pretty much been developed. So it sort of has a special place in my heart when I drive by and I see the deer that are over here eating, or somebody's walking their dog.
To keep the magic alive, Ford says the goal is to raise another $825,000 above what the purchase price was, and right now they're at about $400,000 of that. While Ford says the overall project is a 10 to 20-year longevity plan, the educational and the recreational experience starts now. In Lewis, Emma Aiken, Coast TV News.
And the weekend is here. Yay, the first one of 2026. Lots of happenings, lots of cool things to do across Delmarva. Here's a look at your soon-to-be weekend plans. And tonight, get a good laugh. Milton Theater, the organization's holding a stand-up comedy show at 7:30. On Saturday, Delmarva Birding Weekend, hosting a cruise exploring the Delaware Bay. Organizers say the trip offers chances to see a wide variety of seabirds and waterfowl. And on Sunday, the band Good Stuff performing a tribute show featuring the music of Steely Dan. I know that's right up my co-anchor in the morning, Matt Pensick's alley, with additional songs by Sting, Stevie Wonder, and more. The performance takes place at 7:30 at the Milton Theater. New year, new babies. Hospitals across Delmarva celebrating births this New Year's Day. At Tidal Health Hospital in Salisbury, the first baby of 2026, Spencer Morgan Stanley. He was born at 2:19 a.m. to first-time parents Megan and Ethan Stanley. Congratulations to the Stanley family. Later that morning at Tidal Health in Seaford, the first baby of the new year there, born at 8:40 a.m. Maybe let her mom sleep in a little bit. Her name is Kylan Amari Cannon. That's her mom right there, Zanaya. Congrats a million times to your healthy families. Now this new year is a time when Many people getting started on those new fitness goals. Local gyms like Pure Fitness and Live Fit in Salisbury, they say they see an uptick in memberships this time of year. No surprise. Longtime gym members are also finding new ways to better themselves or others as the new year takes off.
New year, the gym's always packed, right? There's always those fresh faces, those young guys, those old guys that come back in, and you know they're nervous, right? They haven't been in here in a while. They make those resolutions, and kind of seeing a consistent face on the grind, in the struggle, kind of in the trenches with them, I can make an impact on them without even knowing them.
Well, maybe you start your gym membership, go see that guy, a nice familiar face. And the gym memberships are expected to increase through January, possibly even February.
Yeah, cold makes it hard to work out too, you know, give me some motivation, right? Cloudy skies out there, trying to shed these clouds for you guys this afternoon. 30 degrees. We should see those clouds break up through the afternoon. We'll top out only in the upper 30s. You can always call our Coast TV First Alert weather phone for your latest forecast. Your 10-day up next. Well, the clouds are going to clear just in time tonight to see the first full moon of 2026, the Wolf Moon, and it peaks tomorrow morning at 5:03. So get out and view it this evening and into early tomorrow morning. We're going to have plenty of sunshine by Sunday, a lot of clouds tomorrow, and then we gradually, slowly rise. Look at this. We thaw out here towards the middle and end of next week, and then we hold those rain chances off till the middle to later part of next week. Grace.
Moon, Chris, very exciting. Well, thank you, and thank you for joining us for Coast TV News Midday. If you like more local news or local weather, you can download our Coast TV News app. And don't forget to join us for Coast TV News at 5 later this afternoon. And until then, have a great day and a great weekend.